to talk about my March Mystery Madness wrap-up, and then also some odds and ends from the month of March. I did, for the first time, participate in March Mystery Madness. I am someone who likes to plan out my reading in advance, and it's like every year March Mystery Madness would come, and I would be so caught up with middle grade March that it's like I couldn't handle doing both. And there aren't that many middle grade mysteries. I know some people like to kind of just do both, but I am very specific with the kind of middle grade that I like and the kind of mysteries that I like. And usually I don't really enjoy middle grade mysteries, unfortunately. So this year it came and I thought, you know what? I'm going to unofficially participate, not put up a TBR, because I was very excited about it and I thought it would just kind of, I don't know, psych me out if I did put up an official TBR. And then I was able to very much read by whim. So the odds and ends first, I will get to those. And the first one is Don Quixote. This will not come as a surprise because I put up a video a couple weeks back called Processing Don Quixote, something like that, where I just processed verbally kind of what I had just experienced. And now I have to say, over a week out from finishing Don Quixote, and it's just, I'm growing in love with it the farther I get out from it, and really being like, okay, this is why it's a classic. It's just very, very memorable. Even if there aren't, you know, in Wives and Daughters, there's a lot of characters that I like feel so deeply for. But it was a story that I got really swept away by. So I'm so excited that I just went for it and didn't put a timestamp on when I would finish it, and then it just made it super duper fun. So yeah, I read Don Quixote, yay! So if I can read Don Quixote, then surely anyone can. And then all the others are far easier on the brain, and I had a good time reading them except for one. So the one that I really did enjoy is Come Rain or Come Shine. This is the next to last book in the Mitford series by Karon, where you're following the residents of the town of Mitford. It's a little sleepy southern town, and it is very slice of life, and it's very humorous, and it has a lot of heart to it. I just find it so, so lovely to read. There have definitely been books that have been misses, but this is one that I really enjoyed. And there are 3 in the series now that I call unbooks, where it's kind of just takes place over one day and you're getting kind of reflections, or not one day, but over the course of just one little, you know, tiny point of time. Whereas the other books take place over a year or even longer. And in this one, it's up to the run-up to a big wedding that we've been anticipating for a while now. And the other books, that one took place right around Christmas time and the other one was another wedding towards the beginning of the series. I didn't connect with those that much. I just felt kind of like we were loitering, and I didn't know why we were staying for a whole book with that. But in this one, I really liked it, and so it was my favorite of the unbooks, and just so many characters that I've come to love so much. And then the next one that I read, and I have to clutch my heart for this one, that is the second volume of For Better or For Worse by Lynn Johnston. So this is a comic strip, and now they are binding them up, and Lynn Johnston is giving commentary on them, and kind of maybe a punchline she thought about, but she chose this one instead, or something to do with her real life that happened. And For Better or For Worse follows the Patterson family. They are a Canadian family, and it follows them in real time. So the children age every time it's a new year in the comic strip. The kids are a year older, and so you're really getting to see them evolve and change as a family. And I just adore this series so much. And I really like having it on my phone, because when it is a fatigue day, it is the most comforting thing when I'm too tired to read anything else, just to pick up my phone and spend some time with the Patterson family. And the cartoon, you know, nature of it just makes it really just pleasing to read. So the second volume is from 1983 through 1986, and I love seeing kind of what a mixed bag parenting is, that John and Ellie really love their kids, but they're also tired parents, and so it just feels very true to life, and I cannot just recommend this series enough. So I'm already stuck in with volume 3, and I take a while with these because I kind of read them in fits and spurts. But so excited, and it's still not caught up. These big bind-ups are not caught up with when the comic strip ended. I think it was 2008 maybe was when it ended. So I'll see what happens when it does catch up. The library doesn't really have many of them. So maybe I'll just wait for them to keep binding them up. I think maybe it's one a year they're having come out. So yes. All right, and then the sour note, and then I'll move on to all the fun mysteries. I read The Education of Miss Patterson by Marion Chesney. This is a part of a series, and the first one that I read in it, this is so irritating. I cannot remember the name of it, but it took place at Christmas time, and the girls in it, the two leading ladies, their parents are Puritans, and so they don't celebrate Christmas typically, but they get sent off to be with friends of the family for Christmas time, and they have a just wonderful Christmas season. And it was so charming and endearing. And then I've also read the original Miss Honeyford and At the Sign of the Golden Pineapple. So this is the 4th in the series, and I think there are 6 total. And let me just say, this came out in the 80s, and it has aged so terribly. And I'm one of those people that reads Victorian classics with a lot of ideals that are not held today, and I just understand that it is Victorian, and I treat it as what it is. But let me tell you, let me just say, okay, rape is never an appropriate consequence. Never. Never. Rape is never an appropriate consequence. I will just say that, okay? That will give you kind of an idea, a little inkling of how this book did not age well. In the book, there is Miss Patterson and her guardian. And her guardian, there is a romance with the guardian. And I was willing to deal with the age gap. Like, I can deal with that. I was like, okay, you know, it's kind of weird, but I will just run with it. And the dialogue was so fun. But then when there was the part that did not age well, it lost me. So it was a bummer because for like 80% of the book, I was really enjoying it. Now, this has not put me off reading Marion Chesney / MC Beaton's other romances. I'm going to continue on, and I went ahead and checked out the next in the series. I was like, we're just calling this a loss, and it is what it is. So now we move on to the mysteries that I read, and the first one was Quietly in Their Sleep by Donna Leone. This is the 6th in her Commissario Brunetti series that takes place in Venice, and I really love this series. It's a more literary mystery series, so it's not as much of a page turner, and I really struggled with this one for the first 100 pages, and when a book is only 230 pages, that is a lot of book. And I even set it down. I was like, oh, I'm DNFing this. And then something just told me to pick it up again. And then I finished the second half in, I think, 24 hours. So it was a very unusual reading experience. My issue with the Brunetti books, I keep coming back to them because the writing is stunning. I love the character of Commissario Brunetti. I love his wife, Paola, his daughter, Chiara, and his son, but the crimes usually don't interest me. And so if there's a series where I find the detective fascinating and I love the writing, I will keep reading, even if the crime doesn't necessarily interest me. But it's just that in, I think, 3 out of the 6 books, or even 4, the crime hasn't interested me as much, but I love the writing. So I always feel like, I just wish kind of she would pick crimes I would find more interesting, but I'm going to keep reading the series because it is so eloquently written. And there's just very usually interesting observations on human nature sprinkled in there. And it's just a really, really wonderful series. The next one that I read was As the Pig Turns. This is the 22nd Agatha Raisin. And I have talked so much about the Agatha Raisin series, and they are reliable. I will say, though, that, however, I know that Charles Heathcote of BookTube and author fame and I were messaging before about MC Beaton, and he said that she had a ghostwriter he had heard towards the end of her life. And something in these later books has changed. These were still published while she was still alive, but there is this thing that has happened in 3 of the books now, and it's really getting on my nerves, where all the crime happens, it's solved, and then there's like 60 extra pages at the end, and it's just unnecessary extra stuff. And when it's a light, fluffy, cozy mystery, you don't need those 60 extra pages at the end. And I don't know what purpose they serve, and I'm hoping this is not the new norm and pattern. It just seems really sloppy. So I'm wondering if this is when the ghostwriter kind of swooped in and said, you know, let's have an extra plot there at the end. I'm not sure. But it's Agatha Raisin, so I will always keep reading them. And yes, they are continuing to be published. So I'm curious, hopefully this pattern will not stay the same. And then another MC Beaton that I read was Avonlea Choirs. This is the 3rd in the Constable Evans series, set in a small town in Wales. This is just a really enjoyable series, set in a small town. There's some romantic drama with Evan Evans, and I find it a reliable, cozy series now. There are only 10 in it, so it won't be hard to make my way through this series. Next was The Mitford Scandal by Jessica Fellowes. This is the 3rd in the Mitford family, or Mitford sisters mysteries, and they are all mysteries that kind of revolve around the lives of the real Mitford family. And it's a great way to learn more about their lives. And as I was reading this, we're following Diana for a lot of it. And when certain things happen with Diana, when she meets a certain someone, I was like, oh, I know what is going to happen by the end of this book. So it's a total spoiler if you know about their lives. And I just think these are written so marvelously. They are such page turners. I cannot put them down. And I did this as an audiobook. I think, yeah, I've read all of them as audio because I really love the narrator, and I just find myself so compelled to keep reading. And Jessica Fellowes has just really, she is doing this so well, of taking this real family and choosing some real events from their lives and intertwining that with an interesting crime that happened, and also the current events of the day, and having the motivations of the killer sometimes to do with the current events of the day. And I just really, really love this series. Highly recommend it if you like historical mysteries. And then the next one is Why Didn't They Ask Evans by Agatha Christie. I am not going to speak about this much here because, fingers crossed, I'm hoping to do a full video talking about Why Didn't They Ask Evans, the book, and then the new BritBox adaptation, which I'm halfway through watching. Let's just, fingers crossed, it continues to be amazing because I'm loving it right now. And I might also watch the 80s film, and there's a Marple episode too, but I don't feel all that motivated to do all that work before I can film. I kind of want to just watch the modern adaptation and tell you what I thought about the book and that. I will just say, this is such a wonderful Agatha Christie. I'm so grateful that it was adapted recently because I would not have been motivated to pick it up, and I think it might be my favorite Agatha Christie now. And just briefly, the synopsis is, there is Bobby Jones, and he is being a caddy on a golf course, and here's a scream. He runs to the scream and sees a man who is in his dying moments, and he thinks at first that he is dead. He asks his friend to go for help, and while he is waiting for help to come, the man looks up at him, grabs his wrist, and says, "Why didn't they ask Evans?" and then dies. So the rest of the mystery is quite intriguing after that, and I loved this so much. So yes, looking forward to talking about that in more detail. The next mystery that I read was In This Grave Hour. This is the 13th Maisie Dobbs. There has only been one Maisie Dobbs that I haven't loved. This series just continues to be so rewarding to read. It really, really hurts because first, you're dealing with all the brutalities of the aftermath of World War I, and now we are heading into World War II, and it is very sobering and harrowing, but also I find something comforting about these fictional characters that are living in times that really happened and enduring through it and showing perseverance and strength of character. And it's just very consoling to read. And I can't wait to read another Maisie Dobbs. This one was really interesting too because it involved an immigrant dying under mysterious circumstances. And so the authorities were kind of like, why would we bother? You know, he's not as top priority. And Maisie just really taking it upon herself to make sure that justice was done in the case of this man who was not valued by everyone. And it was a really, I just love the integrity that Maisie shows. The next mystery that I read was Death of Riley by Rhys Bowen. This is the second in the Molly Murphy mystery series, and I mentioned in my April TBR that I had met with my group of friends who was also reading through the series, and there was a very mixed reaction. I loved this because it's very like intrapersonal, getting to know other people. The mystery itself kind of takes is put on the back burner, and it's really my style of historical mystery. So I can't recommend this, you know, for everyone. I don't know if everyone would like it. I just know if you like very character-driven historical mysteries, this might be worth a try, and I'm really finding the time period fascinating. I haven't yet picked up the third one, but our discussion is in a couple of weeks, so I will be picking it up very soon, and I'm looking forward to continuing on in the series, and hopefully I will keep enjoying it like I am now. And then lastly was Plaid and Plagiarism. This is a series by Molly MacRae, and it's the first, and I think it's the Scottish bookshop series. It is very like cozy mystery, checks a lot of the boxes. It takes place in Scotland, and our main characters, there's a mom and a best friend and a grown daughter, and they're opening a bookshop in this cozy little Scottish town. So, I mean, all of those things. It felt similar to me. The mystery was not kind of the main focus of the mystery, which sounds silly to say. But if you have read any of the Beatrix Potter mysteries by Susan Wittig Albert, this felt similar to that, in that you're really wrapped up in the lives of the townspeople and how they are all interacting together. And it's hard to put my finger on, though. There was something just odd about this book, and I can't tell you what it was, and I don't know if it was clunky writing or something, but I liked it enough that I read the whole book, and I want to keep reading. Something about it, though, I can't even put my finger on it, but I'd be curious if anyone else has read it, what they think. So I liked it enough that I definitely want to read the next one, and it was very comforting to read, and that is one of the main reasons that I love to read. So yes, Plaid and Plagiarism, a new series to investigate. And those are the mysteries and odds and ends from the month of March. Thank you, as always, for watching, and I will be back wrapping up the middle grade books that I read in the month of March in the next video. Bye.